for Black America, it's just another year. You knew the disrespect by your elected puppeteers, but let me show you how to persevere.
Yo, 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 what's going on, everybody? It's your boy, JD Customz, one half of the Nitty Gritty Show.
It's your girl, Katniss.
Together we are the Nitty Gritty. I promise y'all, her energy is going to be different. Let me give y'all a little go-go music to something to dance to in the background.
You know what's so funny? I've done that before, you forgot as well. That was funny.
It's all good. It's all good. Welcome back to the Nitty Gritty Show. We got Katniss back, y'all. She still had a busy day today, but you know, she managed to pull herself up by the bootstraps.
I had to take a nap.
Yeah, at least you got a little bit of a nap. I kind of woke you up in a little bit of a blur at one point, but you know, you got a little bit of a nap. We back. We was out last week. We was in New Orleans. Mm-hmm. We had posted some videos. We were asking people what was the best gumbo, what was the best fried chicken, and what was the other one?
And
gumbo, fried chicken.
Was it oysters?
Maybe I asked oysters. I'm trying to remember what we was asking for, but it was funny. One guy we posted, he literally said Popeyes, and he might have had a point. So listen.
Dang.
I would listen. Let me clear this up. I went to New Orleans back in the day. This was like Mardi Gras age. This was like college years, right? And it was like, I think I was just too young and partying to really care about the food, and I was too broke to really eat anywhere. Then I went again before I got deployed, but I had been at Camp Shelby, Mississippi for like 90 days. So it's not like I was eating the best food. Nothing, you know. Shout out to Camp Shelby, but the truth of the matter is, we were limited on what we were allowed to eat while we were there, right? You had the mess hall food. So it's not that there aren't good restaurants in Camp Shelby. I don't want nobody in the Hyattsville, Mississippi area mad at me. I don't want no Mississippi smoke. But it's not like we were privy to get all the best food we really wanted. So I remember being in New Orleans. I remember tearing the food up like, man, this is good. I remember I went to Acme and I was just like tripping over the food. Like, oh man, New Orleans food is amazing. But considering what I had become used to. So anyways, fast forward, me and Katrina go down there. This was Katrina's first time, right? She was actually, for those that don't know, Katrina and I are married. Yes, we're a whole couple. We're like a thing, if you know us. We talk about it all the time on this platform, but maybe this is your first time watching. But she was supposed to do her bachelorette in Essence at New Orleans. And so she didn't get a chance to go. So when I had a chance to go down there again, we went down there together. That was cool. And well, at this point, I'll let you take over the story. What was your feelings of New Orleans?
Well, I don't want to say my feelings because I don't want nobody from the city being upset with me.
Well, look.
Being all their feelings.
Now, we had some good food while we was there. Drago's was kind of cool. It was a little salty. Your food was too salty. Like somebody in the kitchen got a little.
Now I'm gonna step in. Drago's was, proclaimed to be the best seafood in town.
That's what they were saying.
But people have to understand, I'm living in Maryland. So my standard of seafood is going to be a lot higher than most people in the country. Because we have fresh seafood or access to fresh seafood like all the time. So when I'm eating oysters, when I'm eating lobster and shrimp, we're talking about the things I'm eating likely would have gotten caught that day. Yeah. Steamed, fresh. So when I'm eating Dragos, I'm like, okay, this is cool, but it was like salty. It didn't have that fresh taste. And maybe it is because it was cooked differently. I don't know, but like I'm used to like a fresh steamed, like, man, I taste the sea salt out of this thing. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like a regular sea salt. I don't even need no little seasonings. A little butter, a little garlic, and I'm good. But that seafood to me was just okay. I wouldn't say it was fantastic. I wouldn't say it was trash, but it was just okay. But the hype made me feel like I was going to eat like some nurset.
Yeah, like, we you get a little spoiled living in the DMV area. For those that don't know, we get a little spoiled out here. So we're definitely used to eating a certain kind of way.
I think my green beans was better. The green beans I made.
The green beans you did recently, they was on point. I'm trying to expand my chat window out, and this is acting all kind of funky. I don't think our people can see it. I'm just trying to be able to see my chat, but it's not acting right. So let me see. I'll just put it right here. I can't fix my window.
Hold on, I'm trying to fix it while you talk. Let me try.
You never even played with the software.
Let me just try.
Just leave it right there.
I'm just gonna try to see if I can do this here.
No,
Come on, just talk. Okay.
So, anyways, but yeah, so we've had better seafood, but it was all right. That's fine, Kevin.
Hold on. Okay, here we go. Boom. I got it. If you would just let me help. Look at that. Look at that, ladies and gentlemen. The wife done got it together. And he over here, no, Cat, you didn't play with the thing.
Well, because every time you touch it, it's freezing my
She is, Cat's she's kind of, knows technology. She kind of got a little something going on upstairs.
I mean, you do. That's why I'm married to you. You got to.
You see how he didn't even want me to help him? He wanted to do it himself, Cat. You don't know what you're doing. He over here struggling. But when you married, didn't they say your wife supposed to meet you? Didn't you the one always talk about, oh, if you need to marry a wife that can help you with the table?
That's true. I say that all the time. I do say that
Child,
all the time.
He about to fall down the steps with the table just now.
Oh, Lord. So, gotta pay our bills. Shout out to Plugged In Customz. You can find them at Plugged In Customz on Facebook. That's Plugged In Customz with a Z. Or you can check them out on IG. That's plug_in_customz, once again with a Z. Or you can email them at pluggedincustomz, all one word, customz with a Z, once again at gmail.com. Or hit them up if you're in the DC area, 202-351-7348, located at 4910 Buchanan Street, Hyattsville, Maryland. If you need detailing, you need car work done, especially those you want to put those cool lights in the car, you want to get a fresh wrap, you want to just go ahead and just paint the car all over again, holler at the folks over there at Plugged In Customz. Speaking of Plugged In Customz, shout out to my man Kenny Elam. It's his birthday. We're going to do birthday shout outs again later in the show, but I figured since we're talking about Plugged In Customz and he is the owner of Plugged In Customz, shout out to Kenny Elam. I'm hoping you're having a good time out there wherever you are. I know where you are, but I don't want to put your business all the way out, but I'm hoping you're having a good time. I was there recently. I know it's a blast. So anyways, let's go into some current news. So Katrina brought this story to my attention, and then I got all the details so I could figure out what the heck was going on. Black karate fighter. He's actually Arabian. He's Saudi Arabian. His name is Tarek Hamedi. He was denied his gold medal because he kicked his opponent too hard.
That's wild to me.
Let me say that one more time slow. Black karate fighter Tarek Hamedi loses medal over kicking his opponent too hard. I guess the opponent was knocked out unconscious, and they felt like the kick was too spectacular for karate, so they're not going to give him his medal.
Can he challenge that? I mean, he won.
I don't know. Like, he won, and they felt like, well,
they give it to the silver medals. That make no sense.
So the loser wins because he got kicked. This is a different world we live in. I just don't help me understand. You kick somebody too hard in a sport where you're supposed to kick someone. Mind you, this wasn't basketball. He actually kicked him in the groin. This wasn't hockey, where they're actually allowed to fight a little bit in there. But this wasn't hockey where he slashed somebody in the face with the skate. And this wasn't football where he speared somebody in the back trying to kill him. He just kicked the man hard because he's allowed to kick in the karate fight.
I mean, I guess in this sport, maybe they're not used to people having like TKO, like boxing or like MMA. But
I'm pretty sure it's happened. It's karate.
I was gonna say, if this was Bruce Lee, would they be taking it away from Bruce Lee? Probably not. Because Bruce Lee was bringing a lot of viewership and money to the sport.
Or if it was, what's his name? What's the little cowboy down there?
Chuck Norris?
Yeah, Chuck Norris. I bet you. Yeah, y'all be running around here talking about, Chuck Norris is just such a bad guy. He's just such a bad guy.
Who was saying that? Who was saying that?
Well, people have always hyped up Chuck Norris, saying like he one of the baddest men alive.
With that boot. I just feel like in sports like what's it called? Combat or contact?
Contact sports.
Here we go. Contact sports. It's kind of like football. You don't anticipate somebody being unconscious, but it's a possibility.
I mean,
MMA,
punching.
It's a possibility. Boxing, anything fighting, anything contact sport, it's a possibility that you're going to either break something, lose consciousness. That's part of the risk of a contact sport.
Yeah, I mean, people get knocked out every day, B. You know what I'm saying?
But the guy didn't die, and he's alive and well. So at this point, I still don't understand why they're taking away his gold medal. If I were him, I would challenge it. And
I feel like he has something worth challenging.
You deserve the gold medal, sir, because you won fair and square.
Yeah, I mean that's one of the craziest things I've heard in a long time. That somebody was denied a medal because they kicked them too hard.
The only time I can see that being applicable is if, like, the one situation where, you know.
Listening. Go ahead. I was trying to say.
I'm trying to say this. How about I say this? The only time I can see this being like, all right, we need to, assess is when there's someone that remember the one guy that transitioned to MMA and he was like taking them girls out of here.
I mean, but at the same time, it's like, I mean, if the opponent agrees to get in the match,
well, there you go. You're right.
I mean,
you're right.
You know, like they agreed to it. Like, hey, we're going to get involved. So, I mean, I feel like it's open. It's open. But anyways, that was crazy. For all my gamers out there, because y'all know we do TNGS _ Mr. L7. So this is big news from the gaming world, but it should be big news to everybody. So 17-year-old hacker from the UK. He was arrested this week. He actually hacked into Take-Two Interactive. Take-Two Interactive is the company that owns like 2K, but the one dear to my heart, because I'm not much of a 2K guy, but they also own GTA, Grand Theft Auto. And Grand Theft Auto 6 is in the works. The hacker hacked in. He released like 90 different clips of video play of GTA 6 in its alpha mode, right? Okay. So, this is like a huge thing because, like, releasing the stuff, like he threatened to give out the source code unless he got some money and all of that. But I think what gets even more interesting with the story is this young man at 16, he was the one that hacked the T-Mobile. So if y'all remember the big T-Mobile leak last year,
he's American?
No, he's from the UK. And he has a group of fellow hackers. Cool. So he hacked T-Mobile. I think he hacked one of the oil companies, and then he had hacked like a bank or something like that, and he was, trying to get money to get paid back. Back when he was 16, just a year ago, his punishment was he was suspended from playing with computers for a month after hacking T-Mobile and all these big companies. So then, I guess he didn't learn his lesson. I guess a month wasn't too strong of a punishment because what did they do with him? He gets out and then he hacks Take-Two Interactive and then he hacks Uber. So Uber and Take-Two Interactive was working with the FBI. The FBI working with a national police group there in the UK. They were able to track him down. They found him, looking at the IP addresses and all of that. They just locked him up. I think it was Thursday. So hopefully he'll get a harsher sentence than just a month.
They're gonna offer him a job.
Well, offer him a job, keep him busy.
Yeah,
something. But they can't offer him a job more than likely until he's 18.
Right, but the U.S. When things like this happen in the U.S., y'all didn't know.
But no, he's a UK national, so the U.S. is not going to offer him a job. If anybody's going to offer him a job, it'll be UK.
Either way, typically when these things happen, these people don't go to jail. They just say, listen. Well, they give them two options. You can either go to jail or you can work for us. And typically, when you work for the UK government, the U.S. government, it's a pretty good deal. It's not like you're not making a lot of money. You get to do cool missions. They be like, hey, hack, the prince of this country and we'll pay you extra bonus. And you like, oh, I get to do a secret mission job. So, I mean, it's not like... it's like Catch Me If You Can. Remember the movie Catch Me If You Can?
When they look at, like, international terrorism, one of the biggest things that they're looking at now is through the web, right? That was something that Obama kind of championed while he was in office. And we're seeing that expansion worldwide as far as looking at cybersecurity. Cybersecurity is huge right now.
It is.
When you see a lot of jobs coming up in the federal space, they're always looking for people with cybersecurity. So for those people out there looking for a better job, you want to change the scenery, look at getting your cybersecurity certs, right? There's a lot of jobs paying high 5 figures, low 6 figures. So if you don't like, working at a factory or working in retail or whatever it is you currently do, you want to change in pace. You don't have to go back to school and get a whole degree. You can actually get a couple of certs and you can get into that career field. So that's an option for you. So that's some current news. But let's get down to the nitty gritty. It's 15 past an hour. I know why you guys are here, right? So let's get to it. If you're in the comments, I'm sorry, I can't even see the comments right now because of I messed up my chat scene. No, don't worry about it though.
Go ahead.
If you can see him naturally on YouTube there, that's fine. But if not, that's fine. We can talk through it. It's the two of us tonight, so I got someone to talk to. So, y'all seen the description. Sports seems a little lopsided these days, right? When you talk about justice, is there a gender bias? And then you have to ask, why are people asking others to do what they can do for themselves? And I know you're like, well, how does this all relate? Well, we're going to talk about it right now in the nitty gritty. So first thing, just the idea of equal treatment in sports. And some people could say this seems racist. Some people could say it don't. I'm just going to bring up a couple of facts that's happened, and then you guys can draw your own conclusion. I will not try to lead you down any path. But if you feel after listening to some, just some happenings and say, that does seem a little weird, then, maybe we have a bigger issue on our hands. So first, everybody's talking about it. Katrina's a basketball fan, so of course you're going to know. But if you don't know, the Boston Celtics last year went to the finals. They were led first-year coach Ime Udoka. Did I say his right name right? Ime Udoka? Ime Udoka? I hope I'm saying his name right. I know a lot of people have been butchering it. I don't want to add to the list. But Ime Udoka, he's been suspended for the 2022-2023 season for having consensual. No, he didn't rape anybody. No, he didn't force anybody. He didn't use his place of power to get the draws. He had consensual relationship. They call it improper because he's engaged in the alone. The rumor is that whoever he slept with is also married, right? And they're also a female staff member of the Boston Celtics. Now, a lot of people were assuming that it was the assistant coach. This one sister, a good-looking woman, but she already came out on the news and said, it is not me.
I'm mad they put her picture out there.
I mean, they had her picture out there, and I think a lot of people...
she's married, that could have ruined her whole relationship.
I think she is married, but I think people just automatically assume, it must be the new black woman.
But what I'm saying is that's very detrimental because what if her husband is now looking at her side eye?
Yeah, just wondering, are you spending some time with the basketball players, right?
Yeah, you put her face out there, implicating her, ain't even true.
Yeah.
Y'all need to mind your business.
So, but he's suspended for a whole year.
Does that mean no pay? What does suspension really mean?
When you get suspended, you're not supposed to get paid. You lose that.
Or does it mean you just can't?
No, you're suspended.
But if you're under contract.
Yeah, but so there's morality clauses sometimes in these contracts. Some they ignore when some people do them. Other folks they pay more attention to. We're going to kind of talk about that. But yeah, morality clause. The owner of the Boston Celtics is kind of big on people not messing around with each other. I guess some teams more than others. Now I will throw this out there. The rumor coming out of Boston, because I know some folks in Boston, they said that the rumor going around Boston is the person in hand that he slept with is actually the owner's wife or one of the owner's wives. So somebody in the front office or the back office or somebody in the ownership suite, they're claiming that maybe he slept with one of their wives. Then I guess to add to it, Black Twitter tore this coach up because for those that don't know, he has a child and has been in a long engagement since 2015. That's 7 years, guys, with Nia Long. So there's a lot of people like, you can't, we was talking about this in the barbershop, but there were some guys that was like, you can't cheat on Nia Long, but you shouldn't cheat on any woman. I don't care if your woman looks like Lizzo. Yeah, and I said Lizzo for a reason, because it's going to come up later in the conversation. But I don't care who your wife is and what she look like, you shouldn't cheat on her anyways. But there were some people like, oh, no, you can't cheat on Nia Long. Nia Long is Nia Long. Look, all we know is this man cheated. He had a consensual relationship. Technically not married, but one shouldn't cheat on a spouse, fiance, girlfriend. If you're in a committed relationship, you should be committed. But this seems a little overhanded to me. I'm curious to know what you guys think. Leave your comments in the comments. But do you think this is an overhanded punishment? What do you think, Kat? Is this do you think this is a bit much? It's a whole season. And let's be honest, his career is probably over. Because you get suspended for a whole season, where are you going to go from here?
I would say normally yes, because there are a lot of men, players, owners, people, politicians that cheat all the time and they're not suspended and they get away with it and people handle it in a private manner. However, I can empathize with the fact that it gets a little dicey when your boss, the person making the final decision, because at the end of the day, when you're an owner, you have the ability to make decisions about coach, players, staff. If I'm the owner and I'm faithful and I don't know that my wife is cheating with the coach, I might be a little hurt and I might want to sock it to you. Yeah. And at that point, I can't say that I'm mad about the 1-year suspension. I don't think Nia Long has anything to do with his inability to be faithful. Yeah. A cheater gonna cheat.
Yeah, basically.
Just like ignorant person gonna be ignorant. Okay? Mm-hmm. It's the same mindset. A cheater gonna cheat. So, I think we've ran it through the mud. I think they need to leave Nia Long and him alone and privately. I will say though, across the NBA, there should be some consistency. I think because each organization is different, it allows them to suspend him from a year, but there might have been somebody that cheated, did the same thing over in San Antonio. Maybe they weren't getting suspended for a whole year. So I'm wondering, is there a consistency with rules across the NBA? I don't know.
I mean, we know Tristan Thompson then cheated on his open girlfriend Chloe a bunch of times.
And he's a player. And I also think, too, that when you're a player, it's possible that you might have more leniency because they need you to perform.
They need a coach to be forced. I mean, at the end of the day, you're not supposed to be doing that. You should be focused. You should be focused on the task at hand. Like, for instance, in corporate America, you could work for Bank of America or you could work for Verizon, and they have rules about you're not supposed to fraternize within the company, right? I think what I find interesting about this is, obviously, Ime Udoka is suspended, but my thing is, if the stance that the Boston Celtics is taking, we have a rule against no fraternization in the organization, then that's supposed to be zero tolerance. So it's almost like fights in school. You didn't start the fight, but somebody punched you, you punched them back. It doesn't seem fair, but when it's zero tolerance, both students get suspended. So why haven't we not heard officially who this other person is, this woman, and what is her punishment with the Boston Celtics? Is she also suspended for the year? Is she forced to take a break for a year? Because if that's the punishment the coach is getting, she's supposed to get equal punishment. I don't care what the role is or what the job is or the association, but if she's a member of the Boston Celtics, because that's what they said, she's part of the staff somewhere, she should be receiving the same punishment. And this is not a matter of, going tit for tat, but you can't have a zero tolerance law. And then I see the coach got in trouble. All right, he got in trouble. That's your stance? Cool. But now, what happened to the woman that was involved in the cheating as well? And I think the rumor is whoever he slept with was a married woman. So she should be facing some kind of penalty as well for also having a consensual relationship, once again, in proper relationship within the organization, within the franchise.
Well, I think, I want to say two things. Number one, I think if this woman is, in fact, the wife of an owner, I'm going to go on a limb here and say it's possible he may not have gotten suspended for a year, and it's possible that it may not have even come out. But because he allegedly slept with the wife of an owner, that obviously triggered, again, revenge or a harsher...
And that's an alleged thing that he's...
Alleged, yeah. That might contribute to a harsher punishment than somebody else. And then to your point about she should also have consequences. Okay, maybe they do say you don't work here anymore, but at the end of the day, if my husband is the owner, am I really receiving a consequence? I'm still gonna get paid either way. I'm attached to the ownership.
Yeah.
So there really is no consequence for her. Maybe you don't book flights for people anymore. Big deal.
Assuming it's her, but I'm just saying, it's one of those things. If you're part of the organization, at least that's the stance they're putting out. And here's the thing. They said Nia Long had no idea this was going on, but the Celtics knew for 2 months. So it's weird that it publicized, and it seemed like there's more to the story than what we have. But it is top news story. Every time you watch ESPN, if you watch Fox Sports, ABC Sports, NBC Sports, you name it,
and her,
they're throwing his name everywhere. It's the biggest story. Now, everyone is like, well, Juan, it seems like you agree with the punishment. You just want to see that it's being punished equally if it's another woman that did it. Yeah, but I want you guys to keep this in mind. Right now in the news, you have Brett Favre, who is going through legal action because he helped steal over $5 million from a welfare fund in Mississippi. For those that don't know, Mississippi is the poorest state in the union. And he stole from the poorest people in the poorest state, taking in, I think personally, $1.5 million. Now they're saying that he paid restitution already of that $1.5 million. It has something to do with a scam that he was doing around the University of Mississippi, because that's his alma mater. If you guys don't know, Brett Favre is from Mississippi. And then the governor is involved with all this crap as well. Now, I would think the biggest story going on in a time where we're fighting over the budget of Americans, knowing that top of mind thing for most Americans is money, security, medical expenses and all of that. You have a well-known football player who's been celebrated. I haven't heard anybody talking about taking away his Hall of Fame status or anything like that. But he stole and helped steal, and the evidence is crazy.
He should get prosecuted.
Right? But this is not a top news story. Now, some would say it's not a top news story because he's no longer in the NFL, and that because it's not going to have any pending consequence on the season or current sports, that's why it's not just a big story. But I call BS on that. Imagine if Michael Jordan, imagine if Magic Johnson, Shaquille O'Neal helped steal $5 million from the poorest people in America. That would be a huge story. I don't think you guys will let that ride. But for some reason, we're talking more about a coach who had a consensual sexual faux pas, who is somebody he shouldn't have been sleeping with, right? That's bigger news than someone who helped steal $5 million from a whole state directly from the poorest people.
I will say this. I don't think the story for Nia Long and her fiance should be as big. Do I agree with a year suspension? I think because allegedly he decided to sleep with the owner, meaning his boss's wife.
Well, we're assuming that, if that's the person.
Allegedly.
Yeah.
Allegedly. Yes. That might be.
But is that just punishment, or is that just somebody in their feelings? So then they're hitting you harder.
It doesn't matter. I'm trying to be an unbiased person. If I am the owner and I know that someone is sleeping with my husband and I have the ability to suspend them, I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, well, I forgive. No. Oh, what's the max punishment? A year? Give that joker a year. And that's why.
Katrina said she with the petty. She's like, listen, you out of here. You just slept with my man. You up out of here. Like, yeah, you all messed up.
I'm not gonna be all like, well, let's look at all the cases. No, we can do a whole year. Okay, let's do it.
That's fair. At least you're being honest about it.
It's kind of like, they find the killer that shot, a family member, and I want obviously revenge, and they're like, well, we can give him the max. And then, his mom is pleading like, well, it was an accident. Max sentence. I don't care if it's an accident or not, because my life has now changed forever. Cheating, death, these things are traumatic, and your life is going to be changed forever. Yeah. So what I will say is that Brett Favre needs to be prosecuted. This story should be big, and people from Mississippi should be outraged. They should be outraged by this. I would be upset if I'm a welfare recipient and I'm struggling and you're NFL behind stealing money. What you need money for? You a whole ex-Hall of Famer NFL player. Meaning you're in the top 1%. What you stealing money for? What you embezzling money for?
Yeah, and I think his daughter also went to the Ole Miss or whatever.
I heard that the governor helped him.
Yeah, governor's involved.
See,
it's kind of a big deal. It's kind of it's lightweight a big deal.
That's that foolishness. But I don't feel bad for Nia Long's man. 1 year, oh well, you should have known. Number one, who you were attached to. You were attached to Nia Long. Therefore,
doesn't matter who you're attached to.
No, but
he was attached to somebody. Period.
I get it.
And Nia Long is not the one pushing the whole agenda.
I get it, but what I'm saying is, you have to understand who you're attached to, the name that comes with it, and the stake at which things can be lost. It's almost like if I was, let's say, married. Okay, let's use Harry and Meghan. Now she knew she was married to the royal family. If Meghan cheated, you already know it's gonna be blown up. And I can see everybody saying, well, you know, people cheat, but it's the name you're attached to.
I get it.
It's kind of like Jay-Z, Beyonce. It's who you're attached. People was like, Jay-Z cheated on Beyonce. Is he crazy? Men cheat. People were like, is he crazy? But it's who he's attached to. The people were like, they couldn't fathom it. They're like, huh?
But still, I think, Black Twitter kind of helped raise the flames. But at the end of the day, I think it's a bit overhanded. And then let me add some other facts. So we got the Brett Favre situation. Okay, he's out. But Tom Brady's also suspected of cheating on his wife Giselle. Right? We don't hear about anybody saying, well, yeah, you know, you're not allowed to come back this season.
Because he probably wasn't cheating with the owner. Back to my original point.
Well, I don't want to make a point about that.
If he allegedly slept with the owner of the Buccaneers, he played for the Buccaneers, right?
Yeah. Right now.
If Tom Brady allegedly slept with the owner...
Well, I don't want you to keep on making that the base of your argument because we don't know.
I said allegedly. That's what I'm saying.
Still, but everything you keep on going back to is if he slept with the owner's wife. We don't know if he slept with just a cheerleader. So you can't make that the basis point of the whole conversation.
I said allegedly.
Still, but don't keep on going back to that because we don't know. Because
I said allegedly.
But still, like, you got to broaden the idea of if there's a zero tolerance rule, period. This is a fact we do know. The fact is the Celtics came out and said we're giving them this harsh treatment because we have a rule against fraternization within the organization, right? Therefore, if the rule is fraternization within the organization is 100% forbidden, then all I want to see is 2 people suspended. I haven't seen that. I want to know that 2 people are facing same consequences within the organization.
No one is negating that, but the ESPN and other sports commentators are saying this punishment does not seem normal. Therefore, it is possible that allegedly him sleeping with the owner might be true because the punishment doesn't seem normal. It doesn't seem like a normal. People are saying that normally when people cheat, it's not that serious, it's not that deep. But because this is a punishment, maybe that's the reason why. So that's what I'm saying. If Tom Brady were to step out of bounds with someone who is a decision maker for his salary, his position, it's possible he could be on that bench too.
Well, the thing is then, so here's the thing. And I don't want to keep on playing semantics down this road because it's really going away from what we was talking about anyways. But the point is, no. If the owner's wife, that means if it's an owner's wife or an executive's wife that he slept with, then that means that person is not part of the organization. So therefore, you can't suspend me for sleeping with somebody outside the organization because they're not part of the organization.
Who?
I'll say it one more time slow. If allegedly it's true that he slept with an owner's wife, one of the owner's wives, an executive's wife, that wife is not technically a member of the Boston's organization. So
how do we know that? We know for a fact that the person.
That's the problem we're trying to. Wait a minute, let me finish. That's the problem we're trying to argue and allege. We don't know that's a fact. What is a fact? And what I'm trying to make clear to the viewers and everybody listening, so that way they understand some of the things we're going to talk about. We haven't even hit all the subject.
We obviously don't agree.
Yeah, I mean,
we obviously don't agree. That's
but the point is, the Boston Celtics have gone on record saying the reason why he's getting this harsh suspension is because he fraternized with somebody who's considered a member of the organization, meaning they're receiving some type of check or compensation from the Celtics. If that is true, because that's what's for sure in the news. We don't know for sure who he slept with, but we know for a fact he's getting the harsh suspension because he had an improper relationship with somebody who also works for the Celtics. That means the other person should receive the same treatment.
I don't disagree with that, Juan. I think what I'm trying to say is...
I understand what you're trying to say.
But also you're saying, okay, well, they can't... If it was a wife, they couldn't be a part of the organization. That's false. If I'm married to you, I'm a part of the organization.
So that means you should be suspending the wife. The wife should be getting fired or suspended along with the other person.
That's true. But again, this goes back to what people are saying. This is the reason why they believe, and allegedly they're saying maybe this is somebody who is attached to someone high up. Because when you have the power to...
What does that have to mean? If you have the power to suspend...
What? Life isn't fair. It's almost like the president, right?
But that's the point we're talking about. So thank you for getting us back on track. We were talking about fairness. So while we're talking about fairness, let's talk about some other things that aren't fair in the NFL. We're not going to go back to the whole cheating thing because that's the problem now. We're more excited about the cheating than Brett Favre stealing from...
I'm not excited.
So we're willing to delve all into that versus... the fact that Brett Favre has stole $5 million illegally. He should be under a jail somewhere, right? Then, let's talk about other fairness. Terrell Owens, to this day, can run a 4.45. That is amazingly fast, 40-yard dash. Has stated multiple times he would like to come back to the NFL. Last time he played was in 2012. He was signed to the Seahawks. They released him in August before the season even got underway. Keep in mind, at that time, he was 38 because he's 48 now. That was 10 years ago. He was 38 back then. But they disregarded him. Now, and that was a black guy. Now we see a white guy. And listen, guys, I'm just stating the facts. You draw your own conclusions. Ben Roethlisberger was accused multiple times of sexual assault. He only got suspended for 4 games. And you know what? And all he had to do was take a professional behavioral evaluation and then take any recommended counseling that came from the professional behavior evaluation. Keep in mind, he was married during those allegations. Then we see Deshaun Watson just recently. He was suspended because of multiple allegations of improper conduct with massage therapists. Not that he forced himself and raped a person. They were like, no, the things he was doing, he was being erected and suggesting to the people that they give him a happy ending after these massages. They suspended him for 11 games. So, black quarterback is suspended for 11 games for asking somebody improperly, hey, you want to do a little extra for me while you got me butt naked? Versus a guy who they allege raped, sexually assaulted.
I don't think any of those things are okay.
No, they're not okay. But what I want to see is, if you're going to say this is a blanket rule, I'm not trying to say that black men that do wrong should get off. What I'm saying is, I want to see that people who participate in other heinous things get the same energy that it seems like the black people are getting. Another example, Jameson Winston got in trouble for stealing crab legs. I think that's why he lost his he won the Heisman. I think they took the Heisman away from him because he stole some crab legs. He said legally when he was being charged with all this, he said, I had a hookup. I think it was a Publix or one of the grocery stores. And that would make sense to me. You're Jameson Winston. You were an amazing quarterback for Florida State. It would make sense that, and then you got to think, people are crazy about football in the South. You go somewhere, they recognize you. Of course,
dumb.
That seems like they might hook you up.
But my main point again is, none of these things are good or correct. People should be punished for them. But we know in life, across gender, across race, that when something is directly, allegedly attached to you, your emotion can dictate the outcome of something versus something not attached to you. We talked about it earlier. Women be emotional. I better get child support. Yeah, when they ex-husband or ex-boyfriend. They
get real vindictive.
But the moment they have a son who now is getting on child support, that girl just being selfish. That's what happened. That's all I'm trying to say with the whole situation. I don't know I don't know what's true or not. But what I'm saying is, if this was the case, allegedly, that's probably the reason why it's a year, because it's like whoever it is emotionally attached to the situation.
But
I'm not saying it's okay.
But they do need to overturn the punishment because it's definitely strong-handed for something of that matter.
The crab legs is the dumbest one.
If they're not going to overturn, and that was back in 2015, but if they're not going to overturn the situation with Emi Aduka, then I need to hear within the next week that, the female or whoever he slept with that was the other party of this inappropriate relationship has also been let go or suspended from the Celtics.
Yeah, and this is why I'm going back. I gotta say allegedly. Okay, let's say for instance you're the owner. I had misconducts, and then everybody collectively decides I can no longer work for the organization. Is that really a punishment for me? I mean, my husband is the owner. Which goes back to my original comment
but for the optics,
about
you still gotta
understanding your position and what you have to lose. Sometimes for men, I think it's about what do I have to lose by doing this act? I don't know if when in the heat of the moment people think about that. What do I have to lose? Because think about it. Think about the balance of power. The unbalance of power, actually. Think about if she is attached to someone who's a decision maker and him, he has more to lose than this person.
No, actually, but the thing is, so now the thing that they like to bring up then, since, you're still on it, most time it's a power complex. Now, if this is the case, the power complex, the power is not in his court. The power is actually with the wife being connected to the owner.
I just said that.
All right, then. So therefore, is he not more so a victim? Possibly. Because think about it. You come on to him, he don't really want to, but you're like, hey, look, I mean, if you want my husband to pay you this, you want my husband to do that. So he's more so a victim.
We agree here.
So that would make him a victim.
It's possible.
So once again, when you start talking about messing around,
the unbalance of power.
Because I mean, if that's the case, then we have to start looking at these women who allege that they got raped and other victims. We don't want to victim blame. So, but right now, if that is the case, he slept with somebody who ends up being they're in higher power than him, and they're the wife connected to it. He's a victim at that point.
I don't disagree with that. I think the point you're trying to make
if we're gonna do the Me Too thing,
I think the point you're trying to make too is that there obviously is racial bias, because every time we look up with these athletes, black men are like getting suspended for dumb things.
It seems like they always get met with the max punishment.
And we know that there is an overwhelming amount of black men who are a part of basketball and football, whether it be, well, make more so players, but we know that they typically receive harsher punishment for trivial things, not even crimes. You mean, you talking about crab legs? Like, come on. Everybody want a crab leg? What you mean? I mean, that one is dumb. You mean to tell me I'm getting suspended because I can't eat a crab leg? Y'all, come on.
He supposedly stole them. And then he
turned out a juicy piece of crab?
But Jameis Winston, he had other things that they tried to connect his character to. But it just seems like we see those guys getting the max, but we've seen plenty of these other players be suspected of some crazy things, and they just kind of get like the good old boy pass. That's not cool. And since we're talking about keeping that same energy and fairness all together, leaving sports and talking about comedy and entertainment, look at Tiffany Haddish and Ari Spears. From what I've seen on my timeline, everybody's timeline might be different. If you have a difference of opinion or if you've seen different, please let us know in the comments. But I've seen a lot of people try to give Tiffany Haddish a little leeway because they say that she handled it better. She admitted it was wrong. I never heard Ari Spears never necessarily try to try to say it was okay. Matter of fact, I heard him on the record say, yeah, he feels like his career is over. So obviously he thought something was off, but she is a grown woman who was an active participant in a sketch that was poorly done, right? This is pre-Me Too movement, but still, it was poorly done. Now, keep in mind, the charges against the both of them have already been dismissed. But Tiffany Haddish has already lost all her jobs, right? And there's a lot of people that's like, they feel bad for Tiffany Haddish, already losing their jobs. Lil Boosie's gone on record saying, I'm going to help get you some work and all of that. I haven't really heard a lot of people talking about, let's reach out to Ari Spears. But if anything, that means they were both given the same mistreatment. They were pre-canceled. And this is the problem with the cancel culture. We're so quick. I've seen so many people on my Facebook timeline. Ari Spears, Tiffany Haddish canceled. Can't believe they did that. It was disgusting. The charges have already been dropped. The legal allegations against them have already been dismissed.
I don't think they should be canceled.
Right? But that's what we do. We so quickly cancel. But guess what? I don't see a lot of men who allegedly are accused of something getting the same sympathy when stuff works out for them. So, I mean, we've seen countless R&B singers, rappers get accused of some stuff, and people aren't trying to cancel them so fast. I think the cancel culture thing is kind of stupid.
Well,
because it doesn't allow for growth.
This is what I think. I don't think Tiffany Haddish and Ari Spears should be canceled because they did an improper skit that obviously did not age well. To me, a skit is very different than the actual act of messing with a child. Yeah. So if we're going to compare them to, let's say, the likes of R. Kelly, this is apples and oranges. It's not even close. Mm-hmm. You're acting a skit, okay? And not only that, the child's mother put him in that predicament.
And I think it was the child's mother. So it sounds like, from what I understand, as more information came out, correct me if I'm wrong, guys, the children weren't even the ones that had the problem. It was the mother trying to capitalize on the moment later and then try to sue. But anyways, they ended up dismissing the charges after all because they found signatures where she signed off on everything at the time that it happened.
I don't think they should be canceled. I do think that it was an improper skit. I do think in life we evolve as a society. So I think for a lot of different, whether it's hip hop culture, whether it's modeling, and the reason why I'm bringing them up is that we evolve. So you can look at someone like Tyra Banks and her counterparts on, what is it? What was her show called about
America's
modeling?
Next Top Model.
Yeah, and you can say, man, she was really gross with some of her comments about not being sensitive to people who are bulimic or body composition or body shaming. Mm-hmm. You evolve as an industry. So anybody can look back and be like, man, when I was younger, I said some things or I did some things that I really wasn't happy about. And that's honestly why social media can be detrimental, because social media has the ability to bring up some of your more ignorant or acts of immaturity, right? They bring it up and now it's like magnified and you're canceled even though you've evolved. So I don't think that they should have been canceled.
And that's why people need to be, and like we said earlier about the Tiffany Haddish thing, previous episode, this is why you have to be careful about what you put out there, because once it's out there, it's out there. And the thing is, society changes. For instance, you know, when you look at the Revenge of the Nerds, there was a scene where a guy pretends to be a boyfriend, puts on the same costume, like a Halloween party. He puts on the outfit of the boyfriend, and he sleeps with the girl, right? That's a form of rape. If a woman thinks she's sleeping with one man and another man is actually the one pounding away at her, that's a form of rape. Yeah. And we laughed at that and celebrated that in Revenge of the Nerds, because this was a nerd and he finally got some from a girl by pretending to be somebody else. He raped that girl.
What was this?
Revenge of the Nerds.
I never seen that.
80s movie. You know, I'm a true 80s baby. You know, you're 80s baby, but you know, a true 80s baby. Like, you don't remember.
How do you not be true when your birthday is in the 80s?
I mean, it's in the 80s.
Late 80s.
Late 80s, yeah. But no, so Revenge of the Nerds was a big movie though. But once again, that was something that happened in that movie that was disgusting. And there's countless other movies where we see the mistreatment of women, where there's gender biases and all this stuff. If you think about American Pie was something that
there's so many inappropriate movies back in the day.
But but are we going to go through the list and start counseling everybody along the way? No.
I mean, I guess if a lawsuit comes up, it's possible that it could be the same exercise.
But you know,
the lawsuit obviously put a magnifying glass on that particular skit, because I don't recall that skit at all.
Yeah, and I never even heard of it until they brought it up now, right? With Ari Spears and Tiffany Haddish. But this is why, one, we have to be more sensitive to what we put out, because you just don't know how something's going to age. Mm-hmm. And then number two, right? I think we need to also offer a level of grace when things are 10 and 20 years old, mm-hmm. right? Because at the time, that was a different time. Like, you can drop F-bombs with no problem. And I'm talking about the one that ends with T, not the one that ends with K, right? Racial slurs, well, that was a homophobic slur. You can say those, and you're thinking too hard, baby. Don't worry about it.
I got it now. Okay.
So, anyways, but you be able to say stuff like that, no problem. There's a bunch of white actors who I think, like, for instance, prime example, who played Robert Downey Jr. He did the movie Tropical Thunder. He did, in my personal opinion, blackface in good taste, because he wasn't truly pretending to be black. His character, he played a white actor that was so desperate to get a Grammy, he thought it would be a smart idea to wear blackface and play that character. He's making a judgment about another white man. You see what I'm saying? He's playing a white actor. He's not playing a black person. Mm-hmm. The way that it's done, and most of us, comedians included, look back at Tropic Thunder and say, that was a funny movie. Shoot, we didn't even realize Tom Cruise was in that movie. He did so well in that fat man suit, right? So I think sometimes, yeah, you may look back at it now, we're more sensitive, more conscious. And you might say, oh, maybe it wasn't the best look. But at the time, I didn't think there was any ill will presented. If you're going to be mad about anything, since people want to be mad about the mermaids and stuff, be mad about movies like The Gods of Egypt, where you had Gerard Butler playing Set. You had old boy that played the Northman playing Ra. I mean, you had a whole cast of white people just about outside of Chadwick Boseman playing all these Egyptian gods.
How can you one better? be mad about every picture, every movie, every description of Jesus being white.
I mean, yeah. I mean, if you're gonna be mad
He's
about
not
something,
a white man. That man was hiding in Egypt. He was hiding in the Sahara, not the Sahara Desert, but I don't know what desert that was. What was it? What desert was it? I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah,
that area,
right, just below Egypt. Yeah.
Yeah. Point being, that man is a Middle Eastern man. Should have had some melanin in that skin. If you're gonna be mad, we got to get it right. Historically, we got to get it right. Historically.
All these historical biopics where they've put the wrong people in and no one's batted an eye. But the second we start talking about fantasy elves, fantasy dragons, and then we start talking about mermaids, and everybody gets the panties in the bunch.
Well, that's when you have to wonder.
And then let's get mad about Superman. Superman gets his power from the sun. And it's lily white.
The thing is, you have to wonder if they're that mad
scientific
about things that are not even real human beings. These are people that have that unconscious bias or concept of what they think a position is associated to a color. So these are people who are making decisions about VPs. If you've never seen a black VP in your mind, I don't believe a black man should be there. If you've never seen a black master chef, I don't believe a black man should be there. These are people who Kanye didn't belong because, well, in that space, to me, black people don't know fashion.
Or, he's the rapper. Some people, it wasn't even a matter of black. It's, oh, no, you're a rapper. Stay in your place. Or, once again, going back into the sports, having the same energy. Whenever an athlete speaks out for the person you would want to vote for, because I don't want to push you on any side of the aisle, but when they're saying something about the person you like, it's like, yeah, freedom of speech. And then when they're saying something against the person you like, then it's like they told LeBron James, shut up and dribble, right? So, people have selective liberties when it comes to an athlete going beyond or an artist going beyond their normal scope. One last thing I want to bring up, because I seen this argument on IG recently, and I was like, you know what, we're going to comment about it on the Nitty Gritty show. They talk about the equal pay thing, WNBA versus NBA. There are enough women out there to empower women. You don't need the help of men. Matter of fact, this is how money works in the NBA, because it's entertainment at the end of the day. They need so many slots of advertisements when that show is on. So the more people who watch, the more money Dove, Secret, Mercedes, Chevy, alcohol products, any product you can think of, they'll pay more for that time slot because they know, hey, a bunch of people are watching Monday Night Football. Hey, we know a bunch of people are watching TNT while, Golden State Warriors are playing and the Lakers are playing, right? So if you want to see the Mystics players get the same money, if not better than the Wizards, then you need to go buy Mystics tickets. But they can't even give them darn things away because nobody's interested in playing. And guess what? Don't get mad at men because they don't want to watch the women play. Women, be mad at yourself, right? So earlier when I made the comment about don't ask somebody to do for you what you can do for yourself, I was talking to women in this case. You want to see women get paid more than sports? Women, those who are making this argument, how many sports games, WNBA sports games have you been to? How many women's soccer games have you been to? Are you supporting women's flag football? If you're not supporting these endeavors, then you can please shut up and sit down because you are part of the problem. If you're not turning your TV on to watch it yourself, if you're not going to the local games, whatever is available to you to support these women, because guess what? The more of you that watch, and don't give me because men are in control. That's BS. The Kardashians have made monies for years because women tune in to watch the Kardashians. Kylie Jenner is suspected to be a billionaire one day because you guys went out and bought her lip gloss. Rihanna is a whole billionaire because you went to Savage Fenty and you bought her underwear. Women, when you use the power of your dollars, and guess what? You do have dollars. You guys are shoppers. You have the ability to make other women billionaires. Beyonce is arguably one of the greatest performers alive because women have tapped in and bought every ticket at her show. They sell out everywhere she goes. Y'all buy every album. I can't even get my wife in the Ivy Park because every time you go to the Adidas website, it is sold out immediately. So the answer to women getting paid more money in sports is the next time there's a women's UFC match, how about women, you go buy that match? You go fill up some bar somewhere because you're like, hey, we're here to go see these two ladies fight each other. You can control your own destiny as far as what women get paid in the NBA, soccer, softball, whatever women are doing in sports, you can make sure they get paid the same way you've made sure Beyonce got paid, same way Rihanna got paid, and the Kardashians.
Can I chime in a little bit? I want to say, I think for a lot of women, let's talk about the WNBA. The reason why the NBA, they make more money than the WNBA is because men and women tune in. And the reason why the women are tuning in is because it might be their favorite sport team, but because there is a high estimation of the value of an NBA player. We hear about All-Star Weekend, how girls are going there to get shows.
Oh, yeah. All them girls that got stranded in Miami stripping.
You're going to tune in. Oh, he's cute. What number player is that? Of course, you're going to tune in because in your mind, you're thinking, I might bag me a baller.
Yeah.
Now, sex sells. If the WNBA went a more sexy, scantily clad route, am I saying it right?
Yeah.
It's possible you might get more male viewership and more endorsements.
That's true, but my thing is,
possible. Before
we even go the route of women having to dress sexy,
I'm not saying you should. I'm just telling you.
But
what makes money?
But the simple answer would be there are enough women out there they can just go watch that sport themselves.
They're not interested in that.
Well,
they're interested in bagging a baller.
But we need to stop making it this is a misogynistic, men are the problem issue. No, anybody you want to be rich in America, it's really simple. You buy their product. You support them. You want to complain, there's not enough black businesses. Well, when you have black businesses, are you supporting them? If you're Latino and you want to see other Latino people thrive in your neighborhood, you need to go to their business. If you're in the Asian community, you want to see people in your community thrive, you go to their business. If you're in the gay community and you want to see people in your community thrive, you go to their business. So when it comes to things like that, we can't ask people to do for us what we're not doing for ourselves. Don't complain about black business if you're not buying from one. Don't complain about we don't have enough representation, and you can directly affect representation by just giving someone the free thing, your viewership.
I mean, I've watched a couple of WNBA games. I've even been to some. And I used to play basketball, so I can appreciate the sport. But I will say when it comes to like playoff time, there's a different kind of energy that I feel in the arena at the NBA game than I do a WNBA game. I don't know. I mean, it could just be pure athleticism. Like, think about it. In the NBA, you're watching these men jump and dunk and do all this cool stuff. In the WNBA, most people
they do it somewhat, but not as often.
Some people can dunk, but it's not going to be through the. It's not going to be like. It's not going to be like through the leg and a boom. Like, it's not going to be like
once again, with women's sports, look at Serena and Venus Williams. They made big money and dominated the sport. Now, they have been kind of cheated in money somewhat.
Yeah, because the guys still make more.
But they've got their fair share of money because guess what? People did tune in to watch them. Same thing when we talk about track and field. While, yeah, people are tuning in to watch the guys run, but guess what? People are excited to see that Jamaican women's team run. People are excited to see the American women's team run. They really go after it. And as a result, these ladies are getting paid. They're being compensated. Can they be compensated better? Sure. But at least, if you're going to make a stronger argument, tune in and watch. And then when you say, okay, wait a minute. I know good and well we've been watching more Venus Williams matches than we have been Andre Agassi. Andre Agassi shouldn't be getting paid more than Venus Williams because the viewership demands, there's more of a demand to watch Venus than it is him. Then you have a real argument. But if you're not tuning in, there's no argument. And so this is not even a message against women. I'm trying to hey, women, as an ally, I'm throwing you some game. Y'all just tune in and watch the matches. And then if they're not paying and you're saying, well, the viewership is the same, so you're just paying the same money, why these teams get paid more? Now we got a different argument because then we can honestly say it's not just.
Yeah, and I'm also, my suggestion to follow on that is how do you get men to be interested in watching WNBA? Because the NBA has both men and women watching.
I would say start with your community first. I'm
just saying. You said Beyonce tickets. Beyonce has men and women supporting her.
But at the same time, we do know there's and you've been to the concerts. Most of the men there, and this is what you've told me, most of the men there who are there, they're typically there with their girl who really wanted to go.
Yes, and
then the guys get there and say, yeah, it's cool.
That, and also Beyonce has a huge LGBTQ support system. They're going to be there for their girl B. I mean, and I love it.
So, look, she's tapped into a community and that community is paying.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, part of viewership is not just ability, but it's also like strategy. So what can the WNBA bring that maybe the NBA can't bring that's going to cause more viewership? They might need to have some strategic thought to it. Like, how do we, because the Jamaican team, I feel like because they're so fast and dominant, that causes viewership. People are like, man, they killing it consistently.
I just don't think that applies with the WNBA. And then once again, I'm not really judging the WNBA as far as why they don't have viewership. I'm talking specifically to the people that want to run their mouth and say, it ain't fair, but then you ain't watching the games.
I know, I get you talking to them. But as a fan of basketball, you do get more.
I don't want to get you canceled. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, at the end of the day,
who's gonna get canceled?
Just move on.
I'm just gonna say, as a fan of basketball, I'm saying women and men watch NBA. I don't know what the stats are for watching the WNBA, but what I'm saying is, how do you get similar viewership for both?
That's a mystery that the WNBA got to figure out. I don't know how to answer that one, but they're gonna have to figure that out. It's 9 o'clock, so we're gonna wrap up. Leave us your thoughts in the comments. If you left comments we didn't see, and I'm sorry, it's I messed up the chat box earlier. But want to do some quick shout outs. Don't forget, we got Mr. L7. If you like video games, you know, Modern Warfare beta is open. I've been going live on Twitch. If anybody wants to check that out, you go to TNGS _ Mr. L7. That's Mr. letter L, the number 7, and then EVEN. I got it in the description if you're watching the video. Don't forget, we do the House of Dragon. We cover that on Mondays at 9 p.m. Don't forget, the new episode is actually on right now, available to you if you watch HBO or HBO Max. And also in sports, I'm gonna do this throughout the NFL season. Since I'm from DC and Katrina's from Cleveland, we'll only be talking about these two teams. But
keep me out of it.
Washington Commanders, they lost to the Philadelphia Eagles 24-8 today. Yeah, Nate, yeah, whatever to you, bruh. I talked trash to you on the phone already. I don't even care that we lost to your whack Eagles. Cleveland Browns did defeat the Pittsburgh Steelers, though, which is one of their rivalry teams, 29-17. So shout out to them. We got birthdays, and as we're going to birthdays, let me play you a little song from Paul Thompson that he did here in the Nitty Gritty Show. He's going to sing everybody happy birthday, and then we'll call out the birthdays. It's like sometimes a little bit of a delay, but there it is.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. Man, do that.
Yay, happy birthday to all of you. So let's start out with Paul Thompson's wife, Nikki Thompson, just turned 40 today, right? So happy birthday to you. We have Ariel Shaw. Shout out to my man Ron Robinson, DJ Oso Loso. Shout out to Reverend Hilda Hudson. Shout out to my man Shaw Daku. And then also shout out to the homie John Travers. His birthday is coming up on Thursday, so happy birthday to you.
Wait, before you go there, we gotta shout out to Twins and Marcia.
I shouted them out last week. Just before. Shout them out again. All right. So let's shout out to Marcia again. She just celebrated her birthday. She's 25 with a few years of experience. Right, we never tell ladies' age, right? Then shout out to Richard and Nathaniel, just turned 35. The Twin Towers, Big Twins, September 16th. They just celebrated their birthday, so shout out to those guys. And then, of course, we like to celebrate love. Before I go into this, let me play a little bit of My Cherie Amour. For those that don't know, this is like one of my favorite love songs of all time. I'm not going to play the whole 5-minute track. I'm going to play just a little bit of it so y'all get a feel. That was My Cherie Amour. Let's talk about some love. Shout out to Rashida Hairston and her husband. They just celebrated 1 year. Shout out to Curtis and Helena Royster. 39 years of marriage. Let's go ahead and drop a bomb for that one. I think that's pretty big right there. 39 years. Shout out to Tim and Loretta Beckett. 22 years. Let me give you a bass drop. Shout out to Reverend Cam and Lady Nicole Howard. 1 year of marriage. Hey, you made it past the first year. Awesome. Shout out to Justin and Kashana Roller, 8 years. And then shout out to my man Mark Knowles on his engagement last weekend. Want to throw a DJ air horn for my homie out there. Joining. Can't wait to come to the engagement party. And we'll be happy to share some of our marriage tips as far as like planning different weddings. So we're excited about that. Any announcements? I forget. No. So anyways, yeah, it was thank you guys for tuning in. I know you guys enjoy when me and Katrina disagree, but you know what? That's true because she brings in a fair point of opinion, and you gotta have that difference of opinion. So for all those that's always like, y'all always agree on everything anyways. No, we don't. You just agree to disagree. But both points are very valid. So we need to have that on the Nitty Gritty show when we're getting down to the nitty gritty. So I always enjoy it. I hope you enjoy it as well. Leave your comments down below. Thank you guys for watching. And don't forget tomorrow to tune in at 9 p.m. as we react to House of Dragon. Speaking of House of Dragon, I think we both want to go watch that. Right. So look, it's your boy Jay DaCosta.
It's your girl Katniss.
And together we are the Nitty Gritty and outro.